they as if they are expecting user to be champion in the domain. This is where you are still gonna face that problem. When you try to create a simpler interface, the domain owners are still rigid. They don't want a translation layer in between them. So poor chatbot has to do a lot of work to connect to the domain thing. And eventually the implementer of the chatbot is gonna throw those words back to the user.
A chatbox on top of a complicated application is still a complicated application. The interface is only one layer. If you want an agent to actually complete professional work, the system underneath has to know what it is allowed to do, what state the work is in, which rules apply, what data is authoritative, and what must be recorded. So when I'm saying the conversational assistant it's not like any chatbot. It sits on top of domain-heavy applications. So any application which is highly, which is extremely complex, which has a lot of domain knowledge or domain-specific information involved. In the original discussion, I made a distinction I want to keep making. The conversational layer sits on top of a domain-specific application. It is not there to answer general questions. It is there to drive real workflows. So think of the whole thing as layers. At the bottom, structured business data, customers, shipments, consignments, documents, engagements. Above that, the deterministic core, the rule engine, the workflow states, permissions and access control, validations, and a full audit history. Beside that sits knowledge, regulatory text, customs guidance, internal procedure, then the agent layer on top, and running across all of it, identity, security, and audit. Horses versus motor car, right? Because if we use this conversational way, right, and under the hood, on the back end, we develop deterministic rule engines or whatever based on the application, we made sure that the conversational agent, when they do that a specific workflow for that specific business application, right, it follow certain underlying architecture. Now the boundary that matters most. The agent can help work out what the user is trying to do, which information to ask for next, how to explain a rule, which approved tool is relevant, and how to summarize what it retrieved. But the agent should not be the sole authority for statutory eligibility, hard business validations, access permissions, final high-impact approvals, or the authoritative audit record. The model is good at interpretation and flexible interaction. Deterministic systems are better at fixed rules, state transitions, and hard controls. Professional software needs both. Let me walk one real request through the whole stack. A freight forwarder says, prepare the next step for this import air shipment. That one sentence sets off several layers underneath. The workflow reports which state the shipment is in. The rule engine returns what customs requires for this consignment type. The data layer already holds the shipper, the consignee, the house bills, the routing, and the documents. So the agent has only 3 genuine gaps left. It asks 3 questions, explains why customs needs each one, shows the completed lodgement back for confirmation, checks that this user is permitted to submit it, and then calls the same validated API a screen would have called. The audit history records all of it. There are a lot of frameworks for building agentic systems now. LangChain, LangGraph, Spring AI in the Java world, and more arriving every month. They are useful, but they are implementation choices, not the architecture. Whichever one you pick, the same questions remain. What is deterministic? What can the agent interpret? Which tools are approved? What data is authoritative? What must be audited? And where is human confirmation required? Frameworks change. Control boundaries should not. Not every question should become a hard-coded rule. Users also ask knowledge-heavy questions. Why is this required? Which procedure applies? What does this term mean? What guidance supports this step? Retrieval helps the agent find the relevant approved material and explain it in context. But retrieval is not decision authority. Knowledge can explain the rule. Where a deterministic rule exists, the rule engine still decides what the workflow requires.
But with the agent, Using MCP server, it can connect to business, it can execute things as if a human was doing.
Right.
As a human was executing it.
Right. The next difference is action. A useful professional agent needs approved capabilities. MCP is one emerging way to expose tools and context to an AI application in a common form. The important point is not the acronym. It is that the agent discovers approved capabilities and uses them through controlled interfaces, rather than having unrestricted access to your business systems. Tools give capability, permissions define the boundary. Right. I said, I'm telling you, I will show you a demo in 2 hours. Said, how? I said, both of your solutions supports MCP, Model Context Protocol. He said, yes. I said, now my job is nothing. I need to just do some integration mathematics in your thing, need to add those MCP, right? Whatever the notification comes, they will not pick my data. They will pick your messages, send it to your customer. That is the. And in a professional system, the agent did it is not a sufficient audit record. You may need to know who initiated the action, what information was used, which rule applied, what the agent asked, what the user confirmed, which tool executed it, and what came back. A natural conversation on the surface should never mean uncontrolled execution underneath. Agentic user experience must not mean invisible governance. Anyway, I'm working on those conversational way of agentic way. I have designed that whole system, architecture, and everything, because I understood without this very complex workflows, it will be, even I cannot maintain it, right? Somebody will say, I'm getting error on this tab, on this feature, and then I'm going to explain to developer. So here is the paradox of good agentic software. The more natural the interaction becomes, the more disciplined the system underneath has to be. The experience can look simpler precisely because the architecture is doing more. Means on the high level, they are still agent, but people should not think this is just chatbot. Under the hood, it is a different tag pattern, maybe rules engine, some deterministic way, MCPs for different APIs and way of working. So this is good. So what we will do, we will have a next session maybe tomorrow, and we can talk about the tech and some case studies, something like that. In the last episode, we come back to the person and why they should not have to learn the language of your software in the first place.